Alabaster, and welcome to another Council Comments. I'm super excited because we have a brand new council member, Mr. Jamie Cole. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, ma'am. It's good
You
to be
are
here.
Ward 5, right?
Ward 5,
So
that's
you
right.
are filling the shoes of Russell Bedsole, who we love and adore, but
Yes.
I know you are going to be just so amazing in this role too.
Well, thank you.
You guys have been, your family has been in Alabaster for a while, right?
We've been here about 20 years. We live over in Lake Forest, and my wife is the principal at Creekview Elementary, just
Yes.
around the corner from there. And Russell was our previous council person, moved on to the State House in Montgomery. We're glad to have him there.
Yes.
And big shoes to fill, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about how it's been being a new council member. I mean, I would think it would be, because a lot of our council members have been on there for several terms, and I'm sure that's, they've got a little rapport going. How is it for you kind of stepping into that?
Well, being the new guy and joining a team with that much experience has been great. There's already a great team at City Hall, both elected officials and people that have been there a long time, and so they know the city inside and out. As you were saying, my wife and I have been here for a long time. We've been serving for a long time. I've worked with City Fest for about a decade now, and one of my favorite things to do every summer, we're hoping to bring that back around as
Come on, yeah.
as we move forward. But I'm new to city government, but I'm not new to the things that make cities like this great.
Yeah.
We were mentioning earlier when we were talking, we're on Money Magazine's Best Places to Live in America list for the first time.
Of course we are.
Very exciting.
We should be, right?
Earlier in my career, I worked with Money Magazine on lists like that.
Yeah.
So, I know what they're looking for. I know what the criteria are. I'm looking forward to bringing some of that experience to the table. But it's not just about being on a list. I mean, when we have a team like we have at City Hall now, man, for a new guy, it's just so easy to step in, and just glad to be a part of it.
That's so good to hear, and I love hearing a little bit about your background and how, even though you may not have been front and center in city government, you have been that behind the scenes guy working in you've had your hands in a lot of different things.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know that you've got some great experience to bring to the table. What has really stood out to you as you have stepped into this role so far?
Well, there's a very steep learning curve. That's one of the things that Russell told me. You're going to learn a lot in the first couple of months, and I have. Of course, we were sworn in around the 1st of November, and since then we've had several meetings. And one of the coolest things that I've seen, just not just being a part of the council and casting votes, but observing, has been the way our department heads in the city and our elected officials work together. I saw a lot of these people working sort of from afar and knew them and knew the kind of jobs they did. But to see folks like John Haggard, our finance director, Chief Rigney, Chief Love, they've really worked together on for instance, how we spend our CARES Act funding. And we got to cast a few votes on that as council members. And the cool thing about that is when you are leveraging that funding, that's sort of a zero sum for our budget here. And so that's pretty exciting, to be able to conserve taxpayer dollars, but also to see how they've been creative in using it. I think my colleague that was on the video previously talked about the contactless entry at City Hall.
Yes.
We're also adding defibrillators to every police vehicle. We have been able to get new software and hardware for firefighter training. There have just been all these different ways that we've been able to leverage those funds, and even the COVID crisis has put so much stress on our first responders, and we've been able to even supplement salaries with CARES Act funding. So that's been really interesting to watch and just see how all that works together. And again, to cast a vote for zero against the budget, that's really good.
All. Yeah, I'm sure that's always a good thing to do. I love that you're seeing how that's all coming together too, and sharing that with us too. Because I think a lot of us watch from afar, and sometimes we don't see what's happening behind the scenes, which is why I love that we get to do these council comments with you guys to come and bring a little bit of transparency to that for us. So I want to know, what are you most excited about coming up? Now you've started, you see what's kind of going on here. What are you most excited about?
Well, with regard to what we were talking about with CARES Act funding, I'm excited about working with county, working with state, partnering and having cost share on things that are important to the community. Sort of similar to CARES Act funding, we've got a couple of votes coming up in the next few weeks on how we're going to use some grants and matching funds to improve our railroad crossings. Anybody that lives in Alabaster knows that's a big issue, and making them more safe and secure, even if sometimes they're blocked, which there's not a lot we can do about that, but at least making them safer.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that in the short term. Also, as we move forward, we've got some other infrastructure issues that we're working toward. Obviously, the 119 expansion is something that's on everybody's mind, but my neighbors have issues that concern them. As we grow, we have more assets and amenities, we have more traffic. How do we make our infrastructure safer? And we're already starting to talk with county and state on how we can do that, and have some things in the works. So I'm excited about working on that as we go forward.
That's awesome. Now, I know that there's some things that are going on within the city that we also want to talk about. There's board and committee appointments that are available, right? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure. So, there are all kinds of opportunities to serve in big ways and small ways. You don't have to be an elected official to serve the city. So if you go to cityofalabaster.com, scroll all the way down, there's a citizen involvement form that you can fill out. Just from experience, the couple of months I've been there, we flip through those folks that fill out that form all the time, looking for people who are experienced in different ways that can help us serve on different boards. Sometimes it's an appointment via the different wards, and so the council people might appoint someone that's interested in a certain topic. But we've got a school board appointment that's coming open this year. And the city council does that. So now that's a little bit more involved than some of the other stuff. There's an interview process, but that citizen involvement form is a good way to let us know about your experience and how you can serve even outside of being an elected official.
That's great information to know. So they would get on the Alabaster City website in order to find that. Great way to get involved if you are interested in possibly city government, but not sure that running a campaign is maybe for you. This would be a great way to do that. And there's, like you said, a lot of different ways you can use your talents and your strengths to get involved. Now, I want to talk also about, this has been a little bit of a hot topic with us, but recycling. I think that we need more information on how we can recycle right now, because things have changed, obviously. Talk to me about that.
Well, this is a passion of mine, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted to run. My background, I come from a recycling background. My dad was a supervisor in a recycling plant.
Really?
And so it's kind of been pounded into me my whole life. This is something we do, not just good for business, but just to be good stewards. And there's been some back and forth about that here recently, and just want to let everybody know that we have the opportunity to continue recycling in Alabaster. There's a bin at Limestone just down 31. If you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/jcolealabaster, I have directions there, and then also a list of the things that you can recycle, because that's the other issue. We want to make sure that we're educating folks about what can go in that bin and what can't, because contamination hurts everybody, and if we all do this and do it responsibly, it might give us an opportunity to expand going forward. And then when you go down there, the stuff that you take, just be responsible and be wise with it. If you got a big box, break it down, make room for everybody. But my Facebook page has a lot more information about that, and something I'm really passionate about. I want to see that grow, so I want us to be responsible with what we have now.
That's really good to know. So go to his Facebook page if you have any questions or need to know exactly where to go or what to do. He'll explain it for you there. I am so thankful that you came and talked to us. We got to know you a little bit more.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll see you again in another few months, and we'll talk more about the city. You'll have learned a lot more by then,
I'm
right?
sure.
It's like drinking from a fire hydrant right
yes,
now,
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you next month on another Council Comments brought to you by the City of Alabaster.